I don't know whether to use the mic. None of the other poets have used the mic, have they? So I'm going to go without a microphone for now. I'm going to start with a poem called I Live on a Boat. I don't anymore. I used to. Not through circumstances of my own, but you'll find out why. I live on a boat, and I had to leave my land abode because my girl chose to show some leg. Another man with which she wished to go to bed. So now instead I float and sway, hoping that the rope would fray just enough that the boat would float away. Or I did at least, but recently that decay it seems to have eased. And now as water laps at my sides, I feel my gripes at life subside. And although my pride had not survived, the fact that she derides my types in ears of other men lacks tact. And that was before, of course, her torso was born out of a lust for his financial hoards. Her champagne lifestyle on lemonade money. A campaign of infantile air raids on funds that are, compared to mine, comparatively airspace. Vast and all-encompassing. And it comforts him that which comforts her, and within these vaults their love unfurls. But it's based on paper. And I felt for so long that our bond was so much shapelier. Woo! I generally hope people aren't offended by any bad language or anything to that extent. It's all in the name of art, so if I swear, I apologise. So we're going to go with something called Visions of Grandeur. Which we all have, and the world seems to have. Deep incisions, filled and flowing with rapid indecision, obscure my visions of grandeur. No debonair pairings of vocal precisions or elaborate exhibitions of my own moral contritions can bring you all back from the brink. It is your repetitions of songs that have long forged divisions between our persons. And is it any wonder that our condition then forever worsens? As we perpetually circle and surf these waves, uprooting the turf that we have laid to get paid and to get laid, and all the while frame the end of that for which our elders have slaved. Modernity. Visions of grandeur. There is no solidity in a silicon world. Only poisonous fertilities birthing clueless boys and girls. Thank you. A few bits. Again, I promised Andy that I'd actually do some off by heart. Actually, I'm going to do one that I'm going to read out, and I can't remember his name, but I met him outside a minute ago. I can actually wave him right there. He was here when I read this the other week. It's about the summertime and how the summertime's amazing, and everyone gets a bit fresh, loses a few clothes, and we will enjoy the experience. So this one's called I Fall in Love 12 Times a Day. I set my eyes on bare skin and prize open. I set my eyes on bare skin and I set my eyes on bare legs and prize open fair skin. I make hemlines rise. Although make no mistake, I compromise tight for something easier to ride. Most of the time with whoever can match my stride. But for now stuck stirring, striving for side saddle Sally's purring satisfactions. Our interactions, of course, could indeed be finer if either of your designer legs would sign here and let me dine at them. Thank you. Okay, so one more off the top of my head. This one is called The Disdain and the Distaste, and it is a bit sweary, so I apologise. But you might understand why I wrote this while I was away. I went interrailing for a little while. It was my excuse was I didn't take a gap year. I didn't go to the Far East Asia or anything like that. I went to Hamburg and then Copenhagen, which was great, but there we go. So this one's called the Disdain and Distaste. For fuck's sake, I mutter in the moment that I wake, as the grazed slate of my life quakes from all the disdain and distaste. And for fuck's sake, I might mutter it twice, because the night had got me high, and the sex, well, it was all right. I mean, I'm leaving plenty behind. And for fuck's sake, for a third time, as the slime from our time spent, bent into one hide, drips from my mind's eye, my thoughts are turned toward your life. And the fact I know how, some months from now, you'll frown with your brow as you're told to calm down. As screams of "you cunt," they stream up from your lungs, they jump up to the front of the fork in the tongue. And the puzzle's last piece, I've been absent for months. And you exhale with a bow. Your mouth now seems drawn toward the ground, as the vowels cut deep into the concaves of your mouth, and consonants compound and they vie vigorously to get out. And then, without a stutter to start it all, your first utterance of those words, it is masterful. The premiere of that phrase that will remark your fate, as each morning you wake and masterfully mutter, for fuck's sake. They're pretty short, aren't they? Those ones. I am going to read you another one. I'm going to read you. Let me see what I've got here. Right. I'm going to read you something called Traveller's Ear. Seething bubbles settle. They prop up the froth as the broth shows metal against the onslaught of my sips. Like a moth, the broth corrodes in the cracks between my lips. It stirs in my breast, the best of me. The rest of me might follow. From head to legs as my brain borrows whatever it can get. It's mostly images of distant lives, pillaged by the powder vibes, stirring up desires for power, designed so to ride out the night. And then light creeps in. Not the sun, but bulbs spinning in the breeze from the holes in the ceiling. This pit of sin that I have signed up to sit in. Cringing at the thought of beginning again, the slugs clinging to my sticky throat, swilling scotch to try and clear the croak, and all of this because we have breathed through notes. Well, I've got the weapon to load, if the ammo's at the ready. And steady with the barrel, remember we're trying to cheat life. Aim it as though you aim to blow the fluid out the back of your eye. Reeling in disgust. But a stirring in my breast, it pulls at the best of me. And the rest of me it might follow. Hollow legs, hollow head, as my brain borrows whatever it can get. And that was the poetry. I always find this weird, it's a kind of fine line between poetry and spoken word. Poetry for me is something that's normally quite short in my eyes. My poems are short, sharp, I say, that's up to you. But I promise I'll write something new. This is kind of a bit of prose, I suppose, and it's called Syrupy Rum. Everything just seems like a luxury that shouldn't be afforded to me. Orange juice, that fresh Valencia fruit with the pulp, the good stuff, is wasted. Sunshine in an affluent area is wasted. A fan on a hot day, wasted. Trust, wasted. I'd like to think I could fall back on being a compulsive liar sometimes, but I can't. I think a hearty dose of Valium, a few bottles of fine French red and a bathtub is the perfect way to solve the manic mixed up feelings of entitlement or lack thereof. Money is unsurprisingly slick in my palms. Once greased by whatever means it finds me, often my own but not always, it begins its rambunctious slide towards a counterfeit product of some kind. A gushing at first, but a rampaging flood is the inevitable result. Most likely for liquor and cigarettes, roulette, or drugs of all shapes and sizes. Just like all those clinging to the ark for life, as the world floods and thunder from those in the skies strikes down on the mountaintops, slowly encroached upon by the limitless flooding, sending the last men and animals to the waters. All of that liquor and all of those drugs of all shapes and sizes came in twos, all to be consumed by the enlisted, to ride out the horror of the ark's commitment. I wish to be struck down by now, as an evil tyranny of man. I wish this as I greatly understand the commitments forced upon our persons by these in the skies. I wish this, but if you want something done. My mind, I can happily admit, is not made for the callous and cold survivalist, nor is it made for the normality set out at us en masse using furniture and family to silence the screams. But finally, and most disappointingly of all, is that my mind is not made to a point whereby I can heckle and absorb the world's shortcomings fully enough. So I'd be able to churn the sour milk we are handed down into a rancid butter and sell it back to the skies with interest. That way, I would say no to the ark. Let the others suffer their second chance, as I will have laughed and I will have won, and I will have the incredible sight gazing at the last hope sail and smash finally into the waves. I will wait atop a not very tall mountain, my own flood encroaching on me, smoking cigarettes, drinking fruity cocktails laced syrupy with rum, shades on, shirt open, trousers optional, waiting atop my not very tall mountain for it to thunderously explode, smiling all the while and still full of unbearable love. Thanks. I think that's been done. And a very, very quick one to show that poems can be really, really quick. This is called Pentameters, and it goes like this. So I'm going to need a swig of this, I think. Nonsensical stress under huge duress from festering pressed messes of heady stirred undresses, stripped down and soaked into each etched crease of the misty menace of my mind. Thank you.
So Nash, guys, get loud and proud, please! My bro, my boy.